What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Me, My Old Man in a Movie, and today we are going to be reviewing the film Wolfman.
Oh!
Yes.
All right, we saw this yesterday.
We did.
We got some differing opinions on
We do
this.
have very differing opinions on this film.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read a brief synopsis of the film, and then we'll get right into it.
Before we do that,
Make sure you subscribe.
subscribe, like.
All the things, so we can reach our goal of 500
we are
subscribers.
so close.
We're very close.
475 as of the recording of this. So
help
get
us
us
out.
there.
Get
We're
us
going to
there. Come
make
on.
it. Yeah. All right, here we go.
All right, brief synopsis of the film. Blake and his family are attacked by an unseen animal and in a desperate escape, barricade themselves inside a farmhouse as the creature prowls the perimeter. As the night stretches on, however, Blake begins to behave strangely, transforming into something unrecognizable that soon jeopardizes his wife and his daughter.
Okay. That's pretty much the story.
That is the story of the film.
Okay.
That's about it.
That's all right. Okay, so let's do this. So we've got Blockbuster Trio.
Yeah, which is what we're going to say 3 things we liked about the film.
Trilogy of Change.
Which is 3 things that we would change about the film.
We're going to give her a rating.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to recommend see it in the theater.
Streaming, wait for streaming, or just skip it all together.
Skip it all together. So here we go. Let's start with our Blockbuster Trio. All right, so Gannon May, do you want to kick it off, or you want me to kick it off?
I'll kick it off.
Here we go.
All right, the first thing that I thought was great about this film was there was like a couple really gruesome scenes that that was some of the best parts of the film. They were so disgusting.
Yeah,
but it was so good.
Disgusting to the point that, let's be clear, the audience, not a ton of people in there, but laughter. We were like, what in the world is happening? It was
just ridiculous. So
it's kind of like
a couple scenes
gross, but like, what is this? I mean, we were laughing. The guys in front of us were laughing. So okay. Anything else on that?
No,
that's it. Okay, so my first thing is going to be, and these are in no particular order here. I like the old school monster movie feel that this had. I think some of that, like the I don't want to call it cheesy, the thing we were just talking about with the gruesome kind of, what is this? Like the attempts at kind of this monster stuff. I thought it was a simple storyline. I thought it had kind of old school pacing to me. It was really kind of slow. There wasn't a lot of like twists and turns. It was just a story. Here it is. Mm-hmm. Some of even the shots felt archaic to me. Like there was one shot where he's kind of having this moment where he's a bit what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of
out of it,
discombobulated. That's not what I'm going for. But just kind of struggling. And the camera, I don't know if you caught this. Like the camera was literally just going. Mm-hmm. Twisting side to side. I was like, cool. That is so like 1950. Like we don't have any other way to show this, so let's just do this with the camera.
Yeah.
So I put that under something I appreciate about it though, and that I liked is that I felt like, give me a popcorn and I'm in a theater 70 years ago, watching this release for the first time. So if they had this thing in black and white, it would have just been all out retro. So there you go. All right.
So the second thing I liked about this film, I thought, was the lighting. They used that very well. There was even a couple shots where he's laying on the ground, and then everything behind him turns to dark, and it's just like a spotlight on him, and he's just laying there. And it's like, I was like, that's really cool. And some of the things where they go into the wolf's perspective and then back out of the wolf's perspective, I thought it was just really well done.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback on that a little bit and move my 2 to 3 and 3 to 2 here. So second thing for me then is the way they got into the monster's psyche. Mm-hmm. And I did this in a couple. The reason I'm tying it to what you just said is that back and forth perspective that you were commenting on with the lighting. I thought that really we got a real clear understanding of the monster's point of view.
Yeah.
What he was going through as he's transitioning and the struggle.
Which I feel like is something that's not done a lot of the time in horror movies. Is we don't get the other perspective of the killers or the villains of the movies,
Right.
and this really gave it that to it.
And it's in part because he went from, I mean, this isn't a mystery. This is in the trailer. You just said it here. You know, you got this guy that's going from being the dad, the husband, to I'm becoming a monster, right? So like, it was really neat to kind of see what he was going through. So, and the concern for his family as he's like, I'm becoming something else, but like, you know, like, how do I still, I got my family, you know? So that internal struggle, I thought they captured that well. So that was 2 for me.
All right. So my third thing that I liked was the soundtrack.
Okay.
I thought the soundtrack, it just captured the scenes really well, and it had you on the edge of your seat, and it just added a lot to the movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of the scenes.
That's not mine, but I will say the surround sound in this film was really fun to be in the theater. I mean, the sounds, the growl, the things were coming from behind. You're like, oh, this is immersive.
Yeah, the immersion was,
Yeah. All right, so third thing for me is, and look, this wasn't my favorite film, so like I had to kind of think through, but I put creative use of one location. I was like, okay, I'm going to give them props for this whole film's kind of shot in this cabin, or most of it, and they did a good job kind of holding you.
Yeah.
It was boring in parts for me, but like they did a good job, I think, of holding you kind of through this and trying to maximize the use of this one space. You know, he's got a high school project coming up where he's going to produce like a little movie short.
Yeah.
And who knows, we may put it on the channel. We'll see.
We'll see. It's going to be horror.
Sees how comfortable he is with the quality of the what we end up with. But you know, we're looking at like, okay, it's going to be a 10-minute thing, one location. And so we're already trying to like, how do we make one location interesting for 10 minutes? Well, they did it for, an hour and a half. So yeah, so I thought that was well done. Well done. Okay, so that's 3 for me. You already gave your 3?
Yep.
All right, so now we're moving on to the Trilogy of Change. Here we go. Okay, so Trilogy of Change. Do you want to kick off again?
I'll kick off Trilogy of Change. This film could have been shorter. I feel like they could have shortened this film in many different places.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be this long. There were a couple scenes that just kind of dragged on a little bit too long. I didn't think it was a big deal, but I thought that there were definitely parts where you could definitely trim things up.
Yeah.
This film probably could have been an hour and a half. And
yeah, I mean, it was an hour, 42 to...
Hour and 46, I think is what it was.
They could have cut 15, 16 minutes easily. I watched we didn't watch the trailer before we went into this, so it was kind of I didn't know really what I was getting into. But I watched the trailer today before we shot this, and I was like, oh, there's the movie. Like in 2.5 minutes, I was like, oh, I just saw the whole movie. So yes, I mean, to accent your point, there was a lot of, fluff in it, I guess. And it wasn't a long movie to begin with, so they probably could have pegged this thing at 88 minutes, but then you're like, really, like, why is this in the theater? So, okay, so number 1 for me, Trilogy of Change. Thing I would change, casting and chemistry. I really didn't get into, and this might be in part the character development on the front end was a little bit lacking to me. They had a couple scenes that kind of show the backstory of the characters, but I even told you I would have liked to seen less conflict with the main characters and more harmony. I think that would have given me more buy-in because it just felt like the relationship wasn't something that I was bought into and like, oh, I really wanted, like I wasn't really, I didn't care as much for them. And so yeah, their chemistry together, the casting of it just, I don't know, maybe a different person, or like I said, a better setup on the front end may have helped with that.
Yeah, my second one that I said I did not like is I didn't fully get into the characters. I didn't care about the characters. So he said it all. I mean, it just didn't, harmony. It should have been more playful instead of more like nagging each other all the time.
Yeah, there was a bit of tension between the husband and wife on the front end. that I think didn't help. I mean, because that's not the conflict of the story, right?
Yeah.
I mean, later it kind of comes into play, but it's just not. Yeah, it's not. I didn't think it was necessary. All right, second thing for me, the dialogue was lacking a bit. It was a little flat for me, a bit predictable, and again, I'm searching for my words here. Kind of standard is not the word, but that like it
Basic?
just basic. Sure, it was just like I felt like a film school student could have wrote some of that dialogue.
Yeah.
So it was like,
can see that.
it's just, you you expected them to say that and they said it. Like it was just they just laid it out there for you, you know, versus getting a little creative with it and stuff that the big dollar writers get paid to do. I thought was missing in this a bit. So, all right.
All right, the third thing that I did not like or that I would change is that Wolfman needed to look more like a wolf.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right on. Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah, the design for the Wolfman, I felt like it was trying to be a comedy with that, but it didn't take itself it took itself too seriously. But
he looked like he was just becoming an old man.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really.
His hair thin.
He was just getting bald like you.
He was getting. I'm turning into yeah, no. So, right, like, and I'm like, a Wolfman should have more hair, not less hair, right? Like, I don't know. So, yeah, it was an interesting take. It did. He was still very much human.
I did think that the design, it could have been more like a wolf, but the design that they chose, I thought, was somewhat unsettling. But I think they could have gone more and still have had that unsettling feeling when you saw him. It went a little bit too much.
This guy, when we get done with this, we're going to be watching Teen Wolf soon because he's never seen Teen Wolf. And now that's a hairy wolf, okay? Michael J. Fox, you've never seen more hair on a wolf than Michael J. Fox.
All right, I'm ready.
And then Silver Bullet, just as a side note, my other favorite wolf movie that my brother and I got terrified by as teenagers. So that may be in your future.
All right.
All right, so last trilogy of change for me. This is so subtle, but it really grabbed me at the start of this, the wardrobe. So I don't even know if you picked up on it. Like when they're in the city at the beginning of the film, the dude's shirt was so oversized. I was like, what? They just like, oh, we need a shirt for him. Here, give him my shirt. And there's like big guy on the set like throws him a shirt. Because it's like, it was 2 sizes too big.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah.
And then there was, I think, even the next one he had on, I was like, okay, it's closer, but we're still not like there. And then the girl at the cabin, there's a shot where she's like in the other room and you're kind of seeing full body. And I'm looking at her and I'm just like, and look, I'm 50. I don't know what's in style. All right. But I'm looking and I'm like, I think I would have put her in something different. Like it just didn't, the wardrobing to me, it made me think about what they were wearing rather than, it detracted from the story. Rather than fitting in, it felt a little like I was looking at what they were wearing. And unless you're doing like Wicked, I don't want to like be attention drawn to the wardrobe. It should just kind of blend in with the scene. And it didn't. It distracted me from the story.
Yeah, I could see that a little bit.
That's an odd thing. But if you go see it, Pay attention to what he's wearing in the kitchen in the city and then what she's wearing in that long shot, and you tell me if you agree. So, all right, so there we go. Let's rank it here.
Right. Rating.
Rate it.
7.
6.
All right. Gave it a 7.
7 and a 6. All right. So
I didn't think it was a masterpiece. I didn't think it was special. I just thought that it was pretty good for a January movie. I mean, you're not going to get much better in January. So we'll see.
Okay. So recommendation here. Where would you put this?
I would say wait for streaming.
Okay.
Is personally where I'd put it. Now, the upside to seeing it in theaters is the surround sound. And unless you have a home theater that has surround sound, then go for it. But I think that there's just not much else there to see it in the theater other than the surround sound. And you could skip it and just go right to streaming.
Yeah. So I'm going to say if you like monster movies, wait for it in the theater. I mean, wait for it to come to streaming. If you're indifferent toward monster movies, I would pass on this film altogether. So there again, difference between 7 and 6. You got kind of a wait to stream. And then a pass if you're not into the deal. So there we go. All right.
That's that.
That was it. That's it, right?
Yep.
I think we've covered it. Okay, so what's next?
We have
September 5, we were going to watch We'll save
September-
that.
September 5th.
5. All the gurus say 5.
Why is it 5?
I don't
Someone
know.
in the
We'll
comments
talk
tell
about
us
this
why
again.
is September 5th September 5?
In the comments on Wolfman, tell us why September 5 is 5. All right, so I want to a couple things. One, in the comments, I want to know who your favorite monster is. You know, Wolfman,
right.
Dracula, Frankenstein, Merman. I don't know, whatever they are. The swamp thing. I'd love to hear what your favorite monsters are. And then if you want to comment on the September 5th 5 thing. But we were going to go see it, but it got bumped.
Yeah.
Because of the LA fires
yeah.
and its nomination for Academy Award possibly, so they didn't want to interfere with that. So anyway,
So next we have
pushed
September
off.
5th. There's also Flight Risk coming up.
Next weekend?
That's next week.
Okay, so we got a couple things. That
movies.
looks interesting to me.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Like it could be
and that's
good.
another kind of one scene thing where
Yeah.
they're in the plane the whole time. It seems like.
Yeah, the only thing worrying me is that it's a January movie. You can never quite trust those January
We
movies.
got some good ones coming at the end of the month.
Yeah. Well, let's hope they're good.
All right.
So subscribe, help us reach the goal of 500 subscribers. Get us there, and we'll see you guys next time.